Hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar on embedding dashboards and self-service BI in Blazor apps. This could have also been titled Embedding Powerful BI into Your Blazor Applications. The idea today is that you're going to see how to embed data visualization with the Reveal Embedded BI SDK into your application, and it's super simple. It's only a few steps. With me today is Casey McGuigan, the product owner for Reveal. We have Luke Hijikata, our regional manager for Australasia. And of course, my name is Jason Barris. I'm our senior VP of developer tools. We will all be on the chat throughout this webinar. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the chat, and we will definitely answer them. Casey's been with the product since the beginning. So if there is feature requests or anything that you really want to understand, she is where the buck stops with Reveal. And let's get started. So today's agenda, we're going to go over what Reveal is for the folks on the webinar that don't know about Reveal. We're going to look at how to embed Reveal in Blazor server apps and Blazor WebAssembly apps. Then we'll wrap it up, ask questions in the Q&A or chat. We'll get to them, and the recording will be sent tomorrow. So what is Reveal? Reveal is data analytics built for embed. And we say simple, fast, and predictable. The idea is that in today's market, there's a lot of options for BI, but most of them are SaaS applications. Most software vendors and enterprises need solutions that they can embed inside of their applications. So what's happened is that those folks have said, hey, or the BI vendors have said, hey, you can embed this in your application, but it's going to be an iframe. With Reveal, we actually built this data visualization and analytics engine for embedding, and it really will change how you can present to your customers really rich experiences in terms of charts, dashboards, and data analytics. Reveal does ship as an SDK. This means it has an API. You can embed this in your application. You can set properties, there's events, all these other things that you can do to customize it, not only for how you want it to behave, that user experience, but how it matches the branding of your own application. So when you ship an application, it usually looks like your other applications. It has your brand logo, your brand colors, etc. And that's the beauty of using a tool like Reveal or an SDK like Reveal, is that we can make it match to exactly what you look like, because you have properties that control the fonts, the background color, the foreground color. And when you stick this inside of your app, it can look just like your application with no problems. So our goal when we set out to do this was to enable you to easily create beautiful, high impact dashboards. Make it fast and easy, allow you to connect to any data source. Right now we have about 30 data sources that you can connect to, but in reality, most people use 2 or 3 because everyone's connecting to either SQL Server, Azure SQL, or some sort of a REST data source. We have Google BigQuery, we have Azure Synapse, we have Google Analytics, we have Salesforce, all these other connectors. But for the most part, since you're integrating BI into your existing line of business application, you're already using some of those data sources that I mentioned. So Reveal kind of fits nicely into this. And then, of course, making this 100% self-service, we've made it really easy for users to create dashboards and to edit dashboards that you have in your application. What a lot of customers do is they ship dashboards that are already created, and then when the user clicks on a dashboard to view it, it basically is using their data that's specific to them, and then the dashboard lights up with the data visualizations. And then there's this opportunity that you can create new revenue streams by letting users build their own dashboard. So hey, you could have an add-on, for example, that says for this extra fee, you can add your own charts and your own dashboards, and that happens a lot as well with our customers looking to create different and new revenue streams with embedded BI in their application. And a lot of it too has to just do with basic data transformation and data literacy in the enterprise. So how does this ship? It ships as a .NET Core or Java SDK for the server. And on the client side, you can embed the client SDK into WPF, Windows Forms, Blazor, Angular, React, Jquery, or web components. So it doesn't really matter what front end you're using. It's basically a JavaScript or a rich client API, and then a .NET Core server. You're going to see in today's demo how all of this works and how all of this ties together. It's super simple to get this going, and we have a ton of great examples that I will show you where to find. So let's get on with the demo. So what we're going to do is use Visual Studio 2022, and we're going to create a Blazor server application to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create New Project, and I will select Blazor Server App. If it's not in your recent project templates, it's in the right-hand side. I'm just going to click Next, and let's call this Blazor App OS NZ, and we'll hit Enter, and we will hit Create. So once this is created, the first thing that I want to do is add the Reveal SDK to my application, and I'm going to do that by using NuGet. And what I'm going to do as well at the end of this is show you where all of the help is, so you can kind of do the same exact thing on your own time. So now I've got Visual Studio up. I'm going to right click. I am going to manage NuGet packages. Here in NuGet packages, I'm going to click Browse, and we're at NuGet.org. And I'm going to type in Reveal BI, and I'm going to hit Enter. And you can see here we've got the Reveal SDK WPF trial, and we've got the Reveal SDK ASP.NET Core trial. I want to use the ASP.NET Core trial. I'm going to click Install, and this will update my application with this package. So let's let this happen. I'll accept all my defaults. Yes, we accept everything. And now my application is ready to go. And so let's close this and let's close this. Yes, we'll save that out. Now if I go to dependencies and I go to packages, you can see we've got the Reveal SDK package. So when you're getting started, like, you're probably not going to just jump into this Blazor application and go to town. What you're going to want to do is get yourself familiar with the Reveal BI Web SDK. So you want to go to revealbi.io. And I probably should have started here to begin with, but I got excited with doing the Visual Studio application, of course. But you want to go to revealbi.io, and you want to download the SDK. Now, why do you want to download the SDK? Because while the server piece is in NuGet, the client piece is part of what you download, and it's part of a whole sample package that you get. So, for example, if I go here to File Explorer, and let me just jump over to the correct folder here, users, and yeah, so let's get this over here. So if I go to users, public documents, infragistics, reveal, this is the Reveal SDK where it gets installed. So after you click download SDK off the website, it's going to install the SDK. And then from here, you've got a whole bunch of samples that we ship with the product, but I'm going to show you later where to get some other samples that might be a little bit easier to access. And then on the web, you'll see we've got a JavaScript folder, and this JavaScript folder is where the client SDK is at, and that's what we're going to add to our application in a second. And also, if I go to sample, there's this up media sample, and inside the up media sample, there are some sample dashboards that we're going to use as well in our Blazor application. So all of this is going to kind of tie together. But first step is to download the SDK. And if you want to learn more about the product and sort of what it does, there's all kinds of information here on the website. But you can do that in your spare time. Let's go back to our application. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do is sort of set up this application. And since this is a Blazor server app, we've got the client and we have the server piece. So on the server side, we're going to need a folder to store these dashboards. And of course, we're going to get the dashboards from the SDK that we just installed. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to create a new folder. So we will do add and we're going to do a new folder and we're just going to call this dashboards. And in my dashboards folder, whoops, I'm going to right click, I'm going to browse, or I'm actually going to add existing items. And what I want to do is go back to web, sample, media, dashboards, and I'm going to grab these 4 dashboards. So now I've got some dashboards, and what I want to do is from my client application, I'm going to load these dashboards into the viewer. Now what the SDK does is it has all of the logic for parsing dashboards, doing authentication, etc. These dashboards happen to be created with Excel files that are hosted in the cloud, and so the data will automatically be available to me. So now I've got this dashboards folder. The next thing that I want to do is light up my application with the Reveal SDK. So I'm going to go to the program CS file, and right here I'm just going to say using, and I'm going to say reveal.sdk, and everything really should be in my IntelliSense for this. And then since Reveal is being used in this .NET 6 or Blazor application, what I want to do is tell it to use Reveal as part of the add controllers or controllers for MVC. So I'm going to say builder, and this is just standard MVC .NET 6 stuff, .services, add controllers. So let's go ahead and add controllers. Add controllers. There we go. Add reveal. And that's all we got to do. Okay, so now I've got reveal being added before we do the builder.build, which is important. We've got reveal using the SDK. And then finally what we're going to do is, because this is MVC, and we're doing routing, we want to make sure that the routing works. So I've got some code snippets here that say, hey, app, use the endpoints controller / action, and then we're going to pass it an ID. So in program CS, this is really all I need to do to set up the server side for Reveal. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save there. Now what we need to do is, in the index.html for this Blazor server app, go ahead and tell it to load some dependencies that are required for this application to work. And if you're familiar with Blazor, you know that on the Blazor server side, layout.cshtml is where you might put additional style sheets or additional JavaScript files, etc., that you might want to load into this application. So there's 3 scripts that I actually need to use to make sure that this application works correctly, and I'll talk about these real quick. The first one is we're using Jquery, because in the code we're going to use a selector just to make sure that you can grab whatever the reveal div is that we're going to load in the dashboard to. We're also using a day.js JavaScript file, and then there is the Infragistics reveal.js file in the reveal folder. Now that's something that we actually haven't added yet, but that goes on the client side. So if we go to www.root, you can see there's CSS and then the favicon. We're going to right click here and we are going to add a folder called reveal. So let's go ahead and add reveal. And of course, what are we going to add in the reveal folder? We're going to add that reveal.js file that you saw earlier that was downloaded with the SDK. So let's go back to sample SDK web JS client, and all I need is the Infragistics JavaScript file. So let's go ahead and add that. So now that's in there. And then at the same time, we're going to add a little bit of code. So I'm also going to, we're going to add that in a second. We'll add a new JavaScript file in a second here But first I want to right click on www root, and I'm going to add a new folder, and I'm just going to call this JS. And inside this JS folder, I want to add a new item, and we are going to add a JavaScript template, and let's see if there's something in here. JavaScript. Yeah, let's do a JavaScript file, and this JavaScript file will just be called reveal view. Whoops, reveal view.js. Having a little trouble typing tonight. And so inside of reveal view.js, this is where we're actually going to do some of the magic that loads the dashboard. And because we're doing Blazor, and there's this server side and client side piece, there's some interop that's going to happen between the JavaScript library and the server. So all of the magic for reveal is done through something called the Reveal SDK settings. And this is where you're going to set properties on the object that you're going to load. And inside the SDK, there is this concept of the dashboard. And then the dashboard has events like load dashboard that accept the dashboard name that you want to load. And then what we're going to do is tell it to load using a selector to the reveal view, and basically just go ahead and load up the dashboard into the div that we're going to define. And we're going to do that in a minute. So in order to load the reveal dashboard, it's as simple as this JavaScript function here. There's nothing else you need to do. All I got to do now is reference this JavaScript file. So we're going to go ahead and import this script back in layout.cs.html. So let's go ahead and import there. We've got .js reveal view.js, and I think that will work okay for us. And let's see, what else do we need to do? So now what we need to do is ensure that we're loading something into the page through that div. And of course, inside reveal, or I'm sorry, inside Blazor, that's going to happen in one of the pages. So if I go to index.razor, which is always going to be that default page that shows up, let's go ahead and delete this sort of default code, and let's say hello reveal dashboards will be the name of this. We'll go ahead and hit save. And now what I want to do is actually add this div, which will load our dashboard into. So here I've got a div reveal view, which we talked about earlier. This is going to use the selector, the # reveal view. It's going to be a width of 100% of the screen, and it'll be a height of 750. And then, because again, this is a Razor page, because it's Blazor, we have a code block. And what is this code block going to do? So on the after first render, what we want to do by default is load up a dashboard. So what this is actually doing is it's doing a JS runtime invoke void async. So this is that JavaScript interop between the server and the client. In order to enable that JavaScript interop, you need to inject at the top of your page the IJS runtime for the JavaScript runtime. So this will allow me now to use JavaScript within my Blazor server application. It's basically that simple. And then finally, we're going to do a little bit of magic here as well. We're going to add a selector that is loading up all of the dashboards in a combo box. And when the dashboard changes, or the combo box changes, we're going to call selected dashboard change. We're going to accept the change event args, which is going to be the name of a dashboard, which is going to map to one of the dashboards that we added to our dashboards folder. And that's how we're going to load this guy up. And so the last thing that we need to do is at the top of our page, we're just going to add this select. And on the select, I'm kind of hard coding it just to sort of cheat today. We've got campaigns, manufacturing, marketing, and sales. So to get this going, we added the NuGet package to the server. We added the reveal JavaScript library to the client. we added a little bit of client code in the Reveal View SDK. And then in the program.cs, we lit up our application to use the Reveal SDK on the server. So all of the Reveal functionality on the server can work. And then on the client side, we updated index.razor with, a few lines of code that's going to allow us to actually load dashboards into the Reveal view based on this code here, which is the window.loadRevealView function. So with that, let's go ahead and hit run, and let's see what happens. Let's see if I made any mistakes in my coding here on what we put together. So this is going to just do a quick build, and it might start up on my other monitor. I might need to move it over. We'll see in a second. And meanwhile, make sure you ask any questions inside of the chat window. Okay, so I just slid over my Chrome browser here, and you can see that the dashboard has loaded. This is the campaigns dashboard that I had added to the dashboards folder. If I go to my selector and I change it over to healthcare, looks like nothing is happening. Oh, it's just a little sluggish. So it looks like I had an issue on my marketing dashboard. Let's see if my healthcare dashboard loads up. And no, I might have a little problem today. I wonder what's happening with these guys. Sales seems to work. Campaigns seems to work. Marketing looks like there's some issue with the data. Manufacturing, okay, this works. So maybe some of my dashboards or some of my dashboards that I added in there are messed up. We may try to fix those, we may not. But what I do want to show you is what you get for free when you use this SDK. So here I have my dashboard, and you can see as I hover over, there's things like tooltips. We've got all the data presented. I've got an overflow here that's letting me edit, refresh, do exports to image, PowerPoint, PDF, Excel. If I go back, and I can save this also out to a file. Let me click the edit button, and I'm going to go ahead and select this visualization and click edit. Now I'm in the data visualization editor. This is the magic of using something like Reveal versus trying to build your own self-service BI tool. Take a look at this. I've got all the fields from my data source here on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, I've got everything that's actually constructed this chart. So if I just start over and I remove all this stuff, I'm back to this sort of empty display where now I can just go ahead and drag some values over. And in fact, in this case, I want to move off of a line chart into a grid. So I've got plant productivity, operators available, but really I should probably look at this by product. So let me go ahead and add product and move product up to the top. And let's go ahead and add units produced. And actually, let's go ahead and get rid of overall plant productivity. I'm going to move off of a grid, and let's go to a column chart. And all of a sudden, with a couple clicks, I have a chart. And I'm going to change the title of this to just units produced. Units produced. Hit the enter button. For this guy, I want to change some properties on it. So it is a number, fraction digits 0. I want to use this feature called use large number formatting to update the field. And you can see that now I've got some nice large number formatting on my y-axis. If I don't do large number formatting, again, if I click it like so, you can see how it's going to display the data. So if I check the box, and now I check the box, this visualization is actually updated to the server. I don't have to do anything. Because it's in a folder called dashboards, it automatically saves everything to that correct folder. Now let's go to something like the sales dashboard. So here I am in sales. I want to expand this guy out. We have a few other features here. Like for example, your end users can simply change this to a standard line chart. We have this little globe here. If I select a globe, I can do, for example, a linear regression for let's say 6 periods. And then I've got a forecast of where things are going. Things don't look like they're going too well here for renewal versus sales at this company. Let's go ahead and click this again. Maybe I'll try a time series forecast for 6 periods. And you can see here that the time series forecast taking into consideration the huge dip in March, is actually predicting some pretty dire results for this. But the nice thing is you get all of this for free. You don't need to do any coding for anything. You get a dashboard selector, you get statistical analytics, you get an editor, you get an exporter. If I go back to edit again, it's all WYSIWYG drag and drop. You have the ability to add filters. So here, I'm not going to use the filter here. I'll just check the box. I'll use the filter right here. And now let's say I just want to look at the India sales and hit apply. So now it's filtered out to just India. Now I can go ahead and select everything again, click apply, and everything is back to normal. So with a few clicks, you have an unbelievably simple way of applying dashboards and data analytics into a Blazor application. So now what we just did is we did everything from the server side to the client side. But let's say, for example, you don't want to have a Blazor server app. Let's say you just have an ASP.NET Core app up in the cloud somewhere. What you can do is actually just use this same function, window.loadReveal. Here you've got the SDK settings. There's another option that you can use that just says set the base URL to something else. So what we're going to do here in our SDK settings right here is I'm going to paste in a different URL. So I've got reveal SDK settings, set base URL, samples.revealbi.io, and this is already a server running in the cloud. So if I run this again, I'm not using any of the server code that I just wrote, like all of this using and all that other good stuff. I don't need any of it because now I'm going to a cloud server. I'm not going to my local server. So here, if I go to manufacturing, here, if I go to healthcare, and I believe these weren't working earlier because my local ones were broken. And just to prove this, because, you know, I know there's going to be skeptics in the chat saying, I don't believe you. I think that you're using the same thing. Let's go ahead and if I hit the delete key, no. Let's do cut. Or actually, let's just right click. Where's delete? Maybe it's because I'm running. Let me stop this, right click. Here we go. I'm going to delete the dashboards folder altogether. Just like that. And I'm going to run this again. And remember, this is client side. I loaded campaigns. It went to that new base URL, which is up in the cloud, and I'm getting all of these dashboards. So all this is happening in the cloud as we speak, and this is hosted. Actually, what's interesting is I just did a .NET Core back end with the JavaScript front end in Blazor. This in our cloud, this is our cloud, revealbi.io. This is a Java app, so it's actually a Java backend. So we have the client now talking to the Java backend. So it's the same sort of thing. I can go here, I can change visualizations, I can click edit. I get all the same capabilities. There's no difference here. I can go to my globe, I can do a time series forecast and get a nice forecast. I mean, all of this is just part of the application. And then if you do a few more, maybe like more advanced stuff, like when I click edit here and I click plus visualization, these are the data sources that are used in this dashboard. So if I click this guy, and let's go to email marketing campaign, I'm going to select the data. Now I'm in the visualization editor. I've got my category here. And then I've got recipients like so. And you can see that, yeah, that looks great. Check the box. Now we'll scroll down, and there's the new visualization that I just created by clicking the plus visualization option and using some other cloud data. No code on your part, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's the whole point. This, we have white papers on our website. It literally eliminates up to, I think it was like $700,000 in effort for you to try to create this on your own. And then we're always updating this. We're doing monthly releases with either new connectors, new visualizations, new features, new bug fixes, etc. Like, we are your chart team at that point where you don't have to do any of this yourself. So it alleviates all of the code that you would historically have to do yourself. So now, how do you get help here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to github.com/reveal BI. And here we have tons of stuff in our repositories. But what I want to go down to is, there's some Angular samples, there's Java, there's WPF. We have Node.js as a backend, but here's SDK samples, JavaScript. You've got tons of different samples here for customizing the client and the server. So for example, if you want to do linking dashboards, here would be the JavaScript file for doing dashboard linking. And you can see here, this looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? It's basically the code that we just did with a little bit more. So all of these samples have like a client and a server. There's a getting started page here where we've got the index, and then there's a README. And then what you can do is go back to Reveal BI and go to Blazor. And here, using Reveal SDK in the Blazor server application, 8 steps to dashboards. This is what I just followed along with to do the sample that I just built in Blazor. So right now, the minute this webinar is over, during your lunch break or your afternoon break, go to this URL. We're going to paste it in the chat and build this yourself. All you need is Visual Studio. And all you need to do is go to revealbi.io, click Download SDK, fill out your information, and you're going to get that install. And that install is going to have the client JavaScript library that you need. It's going to have the dashboard samples that you need. And I'm going to look into why a couple of them don't work. But, you know, you can do this right now. There's nothing stopping you. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have a little trial watermark in the corner, and it will essentially go away once you buy a license if you choose to move forward with the product. So with that, why reveal? Eye-popping data visualizations with no code. I mean, how easy was that? And how fun was that? There's nothing like the satisfaction of writing very little code and getting a huge return. So pretty fun. You want to drive data-driven culture not only at your organization, but at your customers. So by embedding BI and offering this through a data transformation effort, or just, if you're a services company and you want to offer a new analytics offering, you can do that with Reveal because you're embedding it in your application. It's called Your Company, has nothing to do with Reveal or Infragistics, and it really does allow data insights anytime, anywhere. So with that, go to revealbi.io today, shoot myself or Luke an email. We will answer any questions you have, and at the same time, we're going to stick around for a minute or two and answer anything left in the chat or in the Q&A. So thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate your time, and we will see you at the next webinar in a few weeks. Thanks again.